Hello, David Zaritsky here for James Bond Lifestyle Video Podcast. Another beautiful day here in Pennsylvania, and quite frankly, I could be doing a lot of things that I enjoy. I could be mowing the lawn, I could be doing weeding, I could be getting bums out of the brush. But you know, this video podcast is about sacrifice, and I'm about to give one of my biggest sacrifices today. Come on, let's go check it out. So the sacrifice I refer to is instead spending the entire afternoon sampling James Bond cocktails from a master bartender himself, Joe Darlington. So without further ado, let's go meet him so he can show you and I how to make the best James Bond cocktails.
Hey guys, what's going on? This is Joe Darlington from the Being James Bond podcast. Thanks Dave Zaritsky and thanks James Bond Lifestyle for having me here to do this cocktail podcast. It's going to be a lot of fun. So the first one we're going to do today is a kind of obvious one. From Dr. No, it's the basic Vodka Martini shake and not stir. Now let's make a martini. Now I'm going to make the martini one of two ways today. This is going to be the first way. Now this, if I'm behind the bar, this is how I'm going to make my martini. I'm going to fill my pint glass almost to the top with ice. Now I'm going to fill this with vodka, okay? Just about to the top. Now how do I know how high I'm going to do this? Well, because I cheated earlier. I filled up my martini glass, poured it into my glass with ice to find out exactly how high I need to fill that. I probably filled that a little higher than I needed to. That's okay, a little more for me. Once the vodka is in there, all I need now is my vermouth. And I'm going to add just a little hair of vermouth. Now why so little? If I was making a gin martini, I would use a lot more than that. I almost resent the fact that vermouth has sort of gone off to the sidelines because everyone is drinking vodka now. Now, give it some shakes. Now how do you know when you're done shaking? When I can feel frost start to form on the side of this, that's how you know you're done. When it's cold enough to touch it, it's almost painful to keep your hand on, that's about when you're done. This is a vodka martini shake and not stir. And what do you think of that?
All right, thank you. I'll give it a try. By the way, I know that some of you were asking about this from one of the other podcasts. These are not stunt drinks, but don't try this at home, we're professionals. Yes, very good, delicious. 3 more, please. Love
it. Okay, a little bit of trivia. What is the first movie that James Bond actually orders a vodka martini shake and not stir? Goldfinger. The Goldfinger, any Bond fan worth the salt knows about Goldfinger. They know it was the movie that really started the Bond explosion. And I think part of the reason is that there's 2 things that happen during Goldfinger that you start to see. 2 traits that will sort of become staples in the whole Bond phenomenon. The first trait I think is interesting, and incidentally both of them are related to alcohol in some way. The first trait is you start to see Bond as sort of a know-it-all. Now you might remember the brandy scene from Goldfinger when Goldfinger is with Colonel Smithers and M, and Colonel Smithers makes a remark about this rather disappointing brandy. And M says, well, what's wrong with it? And of course Bond takes a sniff and he says, I'd say it was a 30-year-old fiend, rather indifferently blended, sir, with an overdose of Bon Bois. Now if you're anything like me, you saw that and you said, what does that mean? Well, fiend, spelled F-I-N-E, like fine. Of the 6 regions, Bon Bois is considered to be one of the lower quality regions. So when he says it's an overdose of Bon Bois, that's what he means. It's a lower quality region, so it's a lower quality brandy. Now the other trait you start to see happen in Goldfinger is Bond is now a traveler. Bond steps off the plane in Kentucky and the first thing out of his mouth is, I think the bourbon and branch water is quite delightful here in Kentucky. Of course, Bond knows where he is, and he drinks in the local culture and the local drinks. Of course, nowadays So now when he's down at Goldfinger's Stud, The first thing he says is, would you like a mint julep? Again, he's drinking locally, he's partaking with whatever the locals have. This is sort of a trait that follows Bond throughout the series. So let's make a mint julep. First thing I'm going to do is grab a couple mint leaves. Now, before I start muddling, I also want to throw in a little simple syrup. Now, as I'm pouring this in here, let me please ask you, don't ever buy store-made simple syrup. Simple syrup is exactly what it says. It's simple. Morally offensive to buy store-bought simple syrup. Just heat up a cup of water. When it's hot, throw in a cup of sugar, dissolve it, stir it till it's dissolved, and you have simple syrup. Now I'm going to muddle this with the mint leaves. Now you don't need to destroy the mint leaves. A lot of people will muddle this until there's nothing left. You want to muddle until you can smell the mint leaves. Now I'm going to add ice to my simple syrup to which now I'm going to top this with Kentucky bourbon. Now incidentally, when James Bond says thank you, I'd like one, he says sour mash, not too sweet. Now what does sour mash mean? Sour mash does not imply that it tastes sour. It actually refers to simply a process for making whiskey. Think of like sourdough bread, where you're taking some old batch, using it to the new batch to keep consistency and quality. That's what sour mash refers to. Now I'm just going to garnish that with a mint leaf, and there is your mint julep. So of course later James Bond goes down to the Bahamas, where he's offered a Rum Collins by Largo. Now as I was putting this together, I kind of realized, as I was thinking about a Rum Collins, that I don't see any gin in any of the James Bond drinks. Rum, I can see why, okay, he's in the Bahamas, rum, but the Tom Collins is usually what you think about when you think of a Collins. Now what is a Collins? It's generally sour with some club soda. So let's go ahead and make a Tom Collins. I'm going to fill my, obviously, Collins glass with ice. This is why these glasses are called Collins glasses. They got their name from the Collins drink. I'm going to start with about 2 ounces of gin. Ian Fleming's gin of choice, Gordon's. 2 shots of gin. It's a big size glass, so 2 ounces. I'm going to do about an ounce, again it's a big size glass, of simple syrup. Now again, one of the reasons why I never use sour mix and I always go for natural ingredients, because you can change it to be however you want. If it's too sour, you can add more simple syrup. If it's too sweet, you go the other way. So now I'm going to add the juice from 1 lime. This is my citrus juicer. You shouldn't get any seeds in with this. Again, natural ingredients is the best way to go. I'm going to top this off with a little club soda. And I'm just going to garnish this with lemon, a slice of lemon, and that is my Tom Collins.
Alright folks, that's been part 1. You don't want to miss part 2, which will be in a few weeks. I promise you, you're going to want to check it out. Take care until then.